Can you guys believe an entire other week has already gone by? I know there's all this chaos, the incompetence, they're flooding the zone with crap, hitting us with one thing right after the other. But then you look up and realize that a whole other week is just poof, gone. Now, Donald Trump has finally been in office for an entire 2 months. It's been a disastrous 2 months, but that means he only has 200 weeks left to go. And if for those of you that are counting down the days, there are 1,401 days until hopefully the Mango Menace gets out of the White House. Now, if you're watching here today, that means you have made it to another segment of the weekly Roundup. This is the point in the week where we kind of gather up a whole bunch of random clips throughout the week. They don't necessarily hit on any particular topic, but because I am a small creator that doesn't have time to cover every story that I would like to, this is something we do at the end of each week to kind of go through, gather a whole bunch of clips together, and go through them one by one. So let's go ahead and kick things off by looking at Adam Kinzinger pretty much challenging Trump to, hey, come at me, bro. You keep on talking about it. Why don't you do it?
Obsessed about it. So my reaction to him is like, you know what? Then bring it. Like, stop talking about it. Stop being all verbose. Stop pretending like you're tough. Bring the charges then if you really want to do it, because we will crush you in court and it'll make me 3 times more effective against you. Look, honestly, Jake, I'm ready to move on too. But if he wants to keep bringing it up, bring it up or be quiet.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving this energy. Everybody knows that Donald Trump is on a revenge tour for his second term, and he keeps on talking the big talk. But like Adam Kinzinger is saying, come at me, bro. If you think that I've done something wrong, why don't you prove it? Donald Trump knows that Adam Kinzinger has done nothing wrong. He has broken no laws. He has committed no crimes. And if Donald Trump were to be forced into some sort of litigation where he had to go through some sort of discovery, he would probably lose. So Adam Kinzinger is rightly calling him out here. You keep on acting like a big tough guy. Why don't you prove it? Now, we don't necessarily know what Donald Trump is going to do. He may pursue it. He may not. I guess we'll just have to see. But I'm loving this energy from Adam Kinzinger. Let's go ahead and move on to Ro Khanna. Now, Ro Khanna is somebody I normally agree with. There are some things that I think he's a little bit too soft on, but he is somebody that is comfortable going into the lion's den and providing new facts to, say, Fox News viewers. I think these people are needed in the Democratic Party.
Well, that is all good and true, but at the same time, you look at what Donald Trump is doing, and you know his ratings right now are higher than they were at any point in his previous administration, because people, look, he ran, you may not agree with what he ran on, but he's still, essentially saying, okay, I told you I was going to work on the border. I'm going to work on all this stuff. And that's what he's doing.
Steve, he had a lot of momentum coming in, and his inaugural, he had a lot of momentum. And then he signed all these executive orders. I'll tell you where he's weak. For the first time ever, even including his first term, his numbers have declined on the economy. People always trust him on the economy. And the problem is not that he's had tariffs on steel or aluminum. The problem is one day he announces tariffs on everything in Mexico. The other day they're off. Then sometimes he's doing Canada. And it's led to lower consumer confidence, higher unemployment, and people are concerned on the economy. That, to me, is what decides elections.
Well, I have heard him say recently, he said, look, people are talking about the economy. I'm working on it. He said, I just got here.
That's fine, but consumer confidence has fallen in March. It's the lowest it's been since 2022.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And when do you think Fox's audience has ever heard these statistics before? Because they're in a cult. These are the types of facts that are just kind of left out of the MAGA conspiracy bubble. Donald Trump's approval rating is tanking. He is underwater for the first time on the economy, which is a huge, huge deal. But we know what this is a byproduct of. Donald Trump has injected so much uncertainty into the markets. He's on again, off again with tariffs. He's firing tens of thousands of federal employees. He's cutting off federal funding and grants. And of course, now that is reflected in the economy. Donald Trump is underwater, and it's important for people like Ro Khanna to go out there and reach out to other people to get him these facts. He's one of the few Congress people that feel comfortable going into these types of spaces, and I think that he should continue to do it. Let's go ahead and move on to a little bit of authoritarianism/fascism. Here is Harris Faulkner talking about how the First Amendment just doesn't apply to you if you're not a citizen.
of terror against law-abiding American citizens. So I know that most of these students who are speaking out on behalf of the Jewish students on campus, they are trying to bring reason to a situation where you have unreasonable people. They don't want a healthy debate on campus. They want to terrorize people on campus.
Well, clearly they're good at it. Look, free speech, I thought, under our laws and Constitution was for our citizens. Mahmoud Khalil was not a citizen. He was here first on a student visa and a green card then. He's not a citizen. We don't have to promise him anything. We're a great country. It's very gracious of us to give him anything.
Just think about what she's saying here. Well, if you're not an actual citizen, if you're not a naturalized citizen, if you aren't born here, well, then you don't get any of our rights. Sorry, Harris Faulkner, that is not how things work. If you are under the jurisdiction of the American system, if you are a legal green card holder, if you are a legal permanent resident, like Mahmoud Khalil was, then you enjoy First Amendment rights just like the rest of us. That is one of the things that makes America great. We afford rights to all of these people. Whether you're on a visa, whether you're on a green card, or you're a naturalized citizen, you get the same rights as everybody else. And it's quite concerning that people like Faulkner here, who speak to millions upon millions, they have no idea how the Constitution is supposed to work. They have no idea that these people are also protected by our Constitution. Now, we already did another piece on Mahmoud Khalil's arrest, but Donald Trump has arrested somebody based on their political speech. And the Trump administration has even come out and said, we're not accusing him of a crime. We don't think he committed a crime. We're just arresting him because it needs to be in line with Donald Trump's executive order or some bullcrap like that. It is absolutely wild what this Trump administration is doing. And Harris Faulkner thinks that, hey, you don't get any rights unless you're an American. Let's go ahead and move on to Representative Brandon Gill, another MAGA sycophant, trying to say that what the federal judge has done by stopping Donald Trump is impeachable.
I have to ask you this. For impeachment, obviously, you have to have high crimes, misdemeanors. What crime did the judge commit?
This is for usurping the executive's authority, for demeaning the impartiality of the court by making a politicized ruling and forcing a constitutional crisis. That is a high crime and misdemeanor.
Who's actually causing the constitutional crisis? Who is barreling towards it head first? That would be Donald Trump. Does this man really not know that we have three co-equal branches of government? And when a president of the United States writes an executive order or tries to do something that is against the Constitution or one of the many laws that we have on the books, then the judiciary is supposed to step in and check that power. These people want Donald Trump to be a king. They want him to be accountable to no one. But that is just not how the system is supposed to work. The judge is doing what the judge should be doing. Donald Trump is trying to invoke wartime powers from 1798 so he can deport people to El Salvador without their due process rights. We're pretty much engaging in human trafficking to El Salvador. And for some reason, you think the judge is usurping Donald Trump's power? No, this is how the system works, and that's how it should work. Let's go ahead and move on. This might be a little bit of a funner clip for some of you. Here's Elon Musk on the verge of tears, talking about how it's actually the Democrats who are mentally ill.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me that there's this level of really hatred and violence from the left. I always thought the left, or Democrats, were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars, they're firebombing dealerships, they're firing bullets into dealerships, they're just, smashing up Teslas. Tesla is a peaceful company. We've never done anything harmful. I've never done anything harmful. I've only done productive things. So I think we just have a deranged, there's some kind of mental illness thing going on here, because this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
and I think there are larger forces at work as well. I mean, I don't know who's funding it and who's coordinating it, because this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
Do these people have absolutely no self-awareness? It really takes a sick person to come out on national TV and say, I've never done anything wrong. I've never done anything harmful, while you are simultaneously shutting down the government, tearing down agencies, firing hundreds or tens of thousands of employees, taking away their livelihoods. Not to mention all of the aid that was stopped via USAID, that's projected to kill millions of people. How do these people not understand that? How are they so comfortable just lying to everybody's face? Now, I'm not saying that people should be going around and setting Teslas on fire, charging stations, dealerships. All of that is no bueno. But for Elon Musk to come on and say, oh, it's the Democrats, they have some mental illness, and that's why this is happening. And oh, by the way, it's a giant conspiracy by some MAGA or some lefty weirdo funding all of these protests and vandalism, is just on a whole other level. Elon Musk is the one who is experiencing some sort of mental illness. This MAGA brain rot has just broken his brain. Either that or the Twitter algorithm that he is currently trapped in. His brain is just mush. And he just wants to come and lie to the world, pretending like, oh, I've done nothing wrong ever. I only do productive things. These people are absolutely pathetic. Let's go ahead and move on. Here's another fun clip, because as most of you know, we cover Scott Jennings a fair amount on this show. He's one of the smuggest pricks on television. I think he just got a raise at CNN. And normally what he does is he sits there, he acts condescending. When you're not talking, he makes weird faces at you. And it's really just nice to see somebody just throw that right back in his face.
People ought to be put in jail and left there for a very long time and be taught a lesson.
So when they do it to a Tesla dealership, it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them. Is that your position?
No, I've never. I don't
Are
support.
we okay with the January 6th pardons?
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me educate you.
No, you don't need to patronize me.
You don't need to. You don't need to be condescending to me. So let me educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me finish it. Let me finish it.
Oh, these MAGA snowflakes are just that, aren't they? They want to be the bullies, they want to be the mean guys, but if anybody turns around and just throws a little bit of it back at them, then they melt like a frickin' snowman. These people are so pathetic. And I'm pretty sure it was Scott Jennings that has defended the pardoning of some of the non-violent January 6thers, so she is not even out of line here. But to see all of this being thrown back in Scott Jennings' face, just chef's kiss. I just love this stuff. Obviously, we know that Scott Jennings is probably one of the largest pricks on TV, so I just really like when these people get it thrown back at them. We'll go ahead and look at this one last clip here. I think this is important. We can sit around and criticize Trump all day, but we also have to provide a good alternative so people start voting for Democrats again.
Trump has an extreme agenda. Again, there are a bunch of people he has a MAGA base who took him literally, but there are other voters who took him figuratively. And for those voters, we have to say, of course, what he's doing is wrong, but we offer a better alternative. You can actually have a government that puts the consumer first, that improves services to people, that makes it easier, not harder to get Social Security, get the benefits you deserve. Not of a government that's kind of run by a ketamine adult person who is essentially, just firing people in charge of the nuclear stockpile, firing veterans willy-nilly. There's a choice between two visions of change. Democrats are offering a vision that improves your lives, not so chaotic. And then there's the Trump wrecking ball.
I love that she's just taking a shot at Elon there, but what she is saying here is absolutely true. The Trump administration is trying to tear down this government, it seems, as quickly as they can. They're shutting down federal agencies, they're cutting off federal funding that has already been congressionally approved, and they are doing so much damage to the country, and if voters need an alternative to point to, we've got to be the ones that can give that to them. That means we have to build a compelling story for this country's future that they can buy into. People just, if you were to ask the average American what a Democrat stood for today, I don't think they'd be able to tell you. And that is a huge failure on the part of the Democrats, because we know there are just so many policies that the American people do agree with, but nobody really knows that that is what the Democrats are fighting for. And even worse, there's been some sort of flip go on where people think that it's the Republicans who are looking out for the little guy, when that couldn't even be further from the truth. It is the Democrats who are fighting for expanding health care to cover more people. It's the Democrats who fought for stuff like the CFPB, which is the cop on Wall Street that protected consumers. The MAGA lunatics just teared all that down. So we do have the better ideas. We do have ideas that are going to be better for more people. So we have to start building a narrative that people can buy into for the future of this country. That doesn't mean that we don't call out all of this corruption, all of this authoritarianism coming out of the Trump administration, because that absolutely has to be done. But we also have to provide a compelling vision for the future as well. So those are the clips that I had for you guys this week on the weekly roundup. Like I said before, I am a small creator that doesn't have a producer or a small team, so there are just so many stories that I would love to cover that I just don't have the time to. If you guys liked any particular clip or any particular theme that you saw today, I do take suggestions on the weekly roundup videos. If you want to see one of these things turned into a bigger story or cover a different story, go ahead and drop your suggestions in the comments below. Otherwise, guys, it's been another week. It's been another disastrous week, and yet we are here. We are fighting through it. We will get through this together. So I will leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. Like I've been saying, we got to build something here on the left that adequately pushes back against this right-wing media ecosystem that is just fermenting this MAGA brain rot that is currently plaguing our society. So if you like what I do here, please do remember to hit that subscribe button. It is free. And if you want to see how the Trump administration is taking away due process rights and shipping people out of the country, pretty much engaging in human trafficking, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.